1992, Nigel Mansell didn't just win a Formula One World Championship, he annihilated the field. Driving the Williams FW14B, a car so advanced it felt like it came from the future, Mansell wrapped up the title with 5 races still to run. Active suspension, traction control, a car that glued itself to the road while everyone else slid around in its wake. Mansell won 9 races that season, shattered records, and finally erased the ghosts of near misses that had haunted him throughout the 1980s. He should have stayed. He should have defended the crown. That's what champions do. Instead, Nigel Mansell walked away. What followed wasn't a graceful retirement lap or a victory parade, it was rage, pride, and unfinished business. Contract disputes with Williams, a team that wanted control, a champion who refused to be managed like a disposable asset. By the end of 1992, the most dominant driver in the world had nowhere to go in Formula One. So he crossed the Atlantic. And in doing so, he detonated American open-wheel racing. A champion who refused to bow. To understand why Mansell's move mattered, you have to understand who he was. Nigel Mansell was never supposed to be here. He wasn't groomed like Alain Prost. He wasn't naturally elegant like Ayrton Senna. He was grit, pain, and stubborn defiance wrapped in a thick moustache and a white helmet with red stripes. They called him Il León, the lion. He drove with his elbows out and his heart on fire. He broke bones, ignored doctors, and climbed back into cockpits while still bleeding. He was adored by fans because he looked human. He sweated, he struggled, he hurt. And by 1992, he had finally conquered Formula One, which is exactly why his decision to leave stunned the motorsport world. IndyCar at the time was proud, insular, and deeply American. It was ovals, street circuits, refueling battles, and raw horsepower. The drivers were tough, the racing was close, and there was an unspoken belief that European drivers, especially Formula One champions, wouldn't survive. Mansell didn't ask for permission. He signed with Newman Haas Racing, partnered with Mario Andretti himself, and strapped into a Kmart-sponsored Lola Ford IndyCar. No traction control, no active suspension, no carbon copy of what he'd just left behind. Different cars, different rules, different risks. Same Nigel Mansell. Australia, the day the laughing stopped. The 1993 IndyCar season didn't begin in America. It began in Surfers Paradise, Australia, a fast, unforgiving street circuit that punished mistakes and rewarded bravery. Nigel Mansell arrived with no race starts in IndyCar, no experience with rolling starts, no understanding of push-to-pass strategies or yellow flag chaos. He was learning everything on the fly. Then he qualified, pole position, not by a whisker, by a margin that made people stare at timing screens in disbelief. A Formula One refugee had just dismantled a field full of seasoned IndyCar veterans on his first attempt. And then he raced. Mansell didn't fade. He didn't play it safe. He controlled the race, absorbed pressure, and crossed the line first. Victory on debut. Something that simply did not happen in IndyCar. Mario Andretti, his teammate, understood immediately. This wasn't hype. This wasn't marketing. This was an F1 champion operating at full capacity, angry, motivated, and completely fearless. The paddock mood shifted overnight. This wasn't a guest appearance. This was an invasion. Why Mansell was different. What Mansell brought wasn't just speed. It was standards. He trained like an F1 driver. Fitness levels the IndyCar grid wasn't used to. Technical debriefs that went deeper than anyone expected. Feedback that dissected tire behavior, brake feel, and aerodynamic balance with surgical precision. IndyCar drivers were tough, no doubt. But Mansell was relentless. He treated every session like a qualifying lap, every race like a war. And most importantly, he raced angry. He felt disrespected by Formula One. He felt discarded. And IndyCar became the proving ground for everything he still needed to say. But if road and street circuits were his comfort zone, the real test loomed ahead. The ovals. Phoenix, where the myth was supposed to end. American drivers had one final argument. Ovals would break him. High speed, concrete walls inches away. No runoff, no forgiveness. Phoenix International Raceway was the kind of place where confidence alone could get you killed. During practice, Mansell found out the hard way. The car snapped. He hit the wall at 180 miles per hour. It hit the wall hard enough to silence the circuit. The impact punched a hole into his back. Mansell was rushed to hospital and underwent surgery to drain fluid. This was the exit ramp everyone expected. The European champion humbled, the myth exposed, the inevitable flight home. Nigel Mansell didn't leave. Weeks later, still recovering, he climbed back into the car. Painkillers, determination, stubborn pride. And then came Indianapolis. The Indianapolis 500. Respect earned the hard way. The Indy 500 is not just a race, it's a rite of passage. It demands obedience before it offers glory. Mansell didn't win it in 1993, but what he did might have mattered more. He ran at the front. He led laps. He raced wheel to wheel at speeds north of 230 miles per hour. With injuries still healing, he went toe-to-toe with veterans who'd grown up on ovals. Late in the race, strategy and circumstance cost him the win. But when the checkered flag fell, Mansell finished third. The American crowd stood, because this was no longer about nationality. This was about courage. Nigel Mansell had earned their respect, winning everywhere. From that moment on, the floodgates opened. Mansell won on ovals, he won on street circuits, he won on permanent road courses. He adapted faster than anyone thought possible. He learned the art of managing traffic under yellow flags. He mastered fuel strategy. He balanced aggression with survival. By season's end, the numbers were staggering. 5 wins, Rookie of the Year, IndyCar World Series champion, and history was rewritten. For a brief, almost surreal moment, Nigel Mansell was both the reigning Formula One world champion and the reigning IndyCar champion at the same time. No one before him had done it. No one since has come close. Red 5 takes over America. The cultural impact was just as dramatic as the sporting one. Mansell merchandise outsold entire teams. The red number 5 became iconic on both sides of the Atlantic. IndyCar suddenly mattered globally. European fans tuned in. Sponsors paid attention. For one season, IndyCar didn't feel like an alternative to Formula One. It felt like an equal. And Nigel Mansell was the reason. He didn't just win races. He validated the series. He proved that talent translated. That greatness wasn't confined to one discipline. The legacy that changed everything. Mansell's success cracked the door open. Jacques Villeneuve followed, winning the Indy 500 and an F1 title. Juan Pablo Montoya stormed in and dominated. Decades later, drivers like Romain Grosjean would cross over with confidence. But none of it happens without 1993. Because Mansell didn't just win IndyCar, he exposed a truth motorsport didn't want to admit. The best drivers could win anywhere if given the chance. Was the field weaker? Or was Mansell simply operating at a level few have ever reached? That debate still rages. What isn't debated is this: 1993. Nigel Mansell was a force of nature, a champion fueled by rejection, a lion unleashed in a new arena. This was not just a championship season, it was a shockwave that rippled through motorsport. Nigel Mansell proved that greatness was not series-bound. Formula One talent could dominate on American soil. IndyCar was no longer a secondary destination, it became a proving ground for the very best. Mansell shattered the myth that Europeans could not handle ovals. He erased the idea that experience mattered more than ability. He showed that adaptation could be faster than tradition. His success forced teams to rethink driver standards. Training methods changed. Fitness expectations rose. Technical feedback became sharper and more demanding. IndyCar drivers had to evolve or be left behind. International attention followed him. Sponsors looked at the series differently. Global audiences started paying attention. The gap between Formula One and IndyCar felt smaller than ever. Most importantly, doors were opened. Future champions crossed over without fear. The sport became braver, broader, and more competitive. All because one angry champion refused to accept limits. For one unforgettable year, Red 5 didn't just race in America. He owned it, so now it's your turn. Was 1993 Nigel Mansell the greatest single-season version of any driver in history? Or did IndyCar underestimate just how dangerous a motivated F1 champion could be? Drop your take in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into motorsport's most unforgettable moments.